My mother-in-law is welcoming a woman accused of cheating and fraud right into our home, completely ignoring her own son's heartbreak. Trapped in a toxic family filled with gambling debts and a child of questionable paternity, my husband is losing himself. This Toronto duplex isn't a peaceful home anymore. It's a terrifying trap built on conspiracy and betrayal, and the only option left is to escape. But the questions remain. Why would a mother knowingly make such a destructive choice? How did one gold digger managed to tear our entire family apart, and where does this spiral of gambling addiction and lies actually end? Hi everyone, I'm Sneha. Join me as we peel back the curtain on this glitzy Toronto life to reveal the harsh reality and the full story hidden underneath. The silence in this house is the loudest thing I have ever heard. If you stood outside on our driveway looking up at the pot lights glowing against the red brick facade, you'd think we were living the Canadian dream. We are in a prime neighbourhood in the GTA, the Greater Toronto area. The driveway is paved, the lawn is manicured, or it was before the snow buried it, and the double-door garage suggests stability, wealth and success. It is the kind of house immigrants kill themselves working 2 jobs to buy. It is the kind of house that makes relatives back in Bangladesh sigh with jealousy when they see the photos on Facebook. But they don't see the walls. They don't see that this 2-story detached home is actually a mausoleum, a beautiful, expensive prison where happiness goes to die. I'm standing by the window in the living room watching the street lights flicker on. It's 4 p.m. in December and the darkness has already swallowed the city. That's how it feels inside me too. A premature darkness. My husband, let's call him Sam, hasn't come home from work yet. I'm dreading the sound of his key in the lock. Not because I don't love him, I do more than anything, but because I know the face he will wear when he walks through that door. It's the face of a man who is slowly being crushed to death by the people who are supposed to love him the most. I turn around and look at the living room, the Persian rug, the leather sofas, the crystal chandelier my late father-in-law was so proud of. He passed away leaving this kingdom to his wife, my mother-in-law, and that was the first domino to fall. Because in this house, ownership isn't just a legal term, it's a weapon. Sneha? The voice cuts through the air like a serrated knife. It's her, my mother-in-law. She's sitting in the family room, her eyes glued to the TV, but her ears are sharp, tuned to every movement I make. Yes, Ma, I reply, keeping my voice steady. I've learned to mask the tremor of anxiety that starts in my chest every time she speaks. Is Sam home yet? He's late. Again, traffic is bad on the 401 Ma. You know that, I say, walking into the kitchen to start tea. I need to keep my hands busy. If I stop moving, I start thinking. And if I start thinking, the panic attacks come back. He works too hard for too little, she mutters, loud enough for me to hear. If he had his brother's brains, he wouldn't be stuck in traffic every day. I freeze. The kettle is in my hand, heavy and cold. His brother's brains. I have to bite my tongue so hard I taste copper. This is the narrative she has spun, a web of delusions so thick it's suffocating. To her, my husband, the one who pays the bills, the one who drives her to appointments, the one who is actually holding this crumbling family together, is the lesser son, the disappointed, the worker bee, and her other son, my brother-in-law, the golden boy. He is the rot in the foundation of this house. My brother-in-law, let's call him Rob, is what people in this country call a deadbeat, a total loser. But you can't say that to his mother. To her, he is just unlucky. To her, he is a genius waiting for the world to catch up to him. He's nearing 40, yet he refuses to work. In Canada, if you want to work, you can work. There are jobs everywhere, but not for Rob. Oh no. I remember the last time Sam tried to talk to him about getting a job at a warehouse or driving an Uber just to help with the bills. Rob had laughed, leaning back in this very kitchen, spinning his car keys, a car he couldn't afford. $25 an hour? Rob had scoffed, looking at Sam with pure disgust. You want me to slave away for peanuts? That's beneath me. I have plans, Sam. Big plans. I'm not a peasant like you. Plans. His plans involve sitting in front of a screen until 4 a.m, gambling away money he doesn't have. His plans involve maxing out credit cards, taking out high-interest loans and drowning in a lifestyle he hasn't earned. I pour the hot water into the cup, watching the steam rise. I feel like that steam, pressure building up with nowhere to go. The front door clicks open, the heavy thud of winter boots being kicked off. Sam is home. I walk out to the hallway. He looks exhausted. His shoulders are slumped and there are dark circles under his eyes that weren't there a year ago. He looks at me and for a second his mask slips. I see the terror in his eyes. What happened? I whisper, moving close to him so she won't hear from the other room. Sam reaches into his jacket pocket and pulls out an envelope. It's crumpled. It looks like he's been gripping it in his fist the entire drive home. Another one, he whispers, his voice shaking. A collection agency. They called my work today, Sneha. They called my office. My heart stops. Who? For Rob? Sam nods, his eyes squeezing shut. He put my number down as a reference, or maybe he used my name. I don't know, but they say he owes $15,000 on this card alone. They're threatening legal action. 15,000? That's just one card. We know of at least 3 others. The total, we stopped counting, at $60,000. That's nearly 80,000 Canadian dollars. Did you tell Ma? I ask, though I already know the answer. Sam laughs, a dry, bitter sound. Tell her! Sneha, if I tell her, she'll say I'm making it up. She'll say I'm jealous. She'll say... He mimics his mother's voice. Oh, Rob is just going through a hard time. Help your brother. We can't keep living like this. I hiss, grabbing his arm. Sam, we are drowning. He is dragging us down with him. We have to leave. Sam pulls away gently, looking toward the living room where his mother sits like a statue. Leave? And go where? This is my dad's house. She owns it. If we leave, Rob moves in fully. He'll sell everything. He'll put her on the street within a year. I promised Dad I'd take care of her. She doesn't want to be taken care of by you, I argue, my voice rising slightly. She wants him. She wants the lie, Sam. She loves the lie more than she loves you. Shh. Sam puts a finger to his lips. It's too late. Sam! Her voice booms from the living room. Why are you whispering in the hallway? Is that how you greet your mother? Sam takes a deep breath, puts on that fake tired smile and walks into the living room, and I follow him, feeling like a ghost in my own home. Hi, Ma. He says. You look terrible, she says immediately, not looking away from the TV. Your brother called today. He sounded happy. He has good news. The air leaves the room. Good news from Rob is never actually good news for us. It usually means he's found a new scam, a new loan, or something worse. What news? Sam asks, loosening his tie. She finally turns to look at us. There is a glint in her eye, a strange mix of triumph and defiance. He's settling down. He's getting his life together. I told you, Sam. I told you to have patience. Settling down. I speak up, unable to stop myself. Ma, he has no job. He has debt collectors calling Sam's office. How's he settling down? Her eyes snap to me. The warmth vanishes. You always look at the negatives, Sneha. That is your problem. You poison Sam's mind. She turns back to Sam. He met a woman, a nice woman. She's going to help him stabilise. He got married. The world stopped spinning. Married. Rob, the man who can't even take care of a goldfish. The man who sleeps until noon and gambles until dawn. Married, Sam repeats, stunned. When? Who? Why didn't he tell us? He was afraid, she says, her voice dripping with sympathy for her poor, misunderstood son. Afraid of your judgment. You and your wife always judging him. But she is a good woman. She has experience. She has a child already, so she knows responsibility. I feel a cold shiver run down my spine. A woman with a child. A woman who married a jobless, debt-ridden gambler in secret. Ma, Sam says slowly, who is she? Where is she from? Does it matter? She snaps. He is happy. Isn't that enough for you? But she pauses, and here comes the kicker. I can feel it coming. The trap door is about to open. But what? Sam asks. They're having some trouble with their apartment, she says casually, picking at a thread on the sofa. The landlord is unreasonable. They might need a place to stay for a few weeks, just until they get on their feet. No. Every cell in my body screams. No, Sam says, voicing my thoughts. Ma, absolutely not. Rob is a grown man. If he got married, he needs to support his wife. We cannot have them here. There is no space, and this is my house, she screams, slamming her hand down on the armrest. The sudden violence makes us both jump. My name is on the deed, not yours. If I want my son and his new wife to stay here, they will stay here. Who are you to forbid it? I pay the bills, Ma, Sam shouts back, his face turning red. And it's the first time in months he's raised his voice. I pay for the heat, the hydro, the taxes, the food. Rob hasn't contributed a cent to this family in 10 years. And now he brings a stranger and a kid into this house. She is not a stranger. She is family now. She stands up, trembling with rage. You are selfish, Sam, just like your father towards the end. Selfish and cold. Rob needs us. And that poor woman, she has suffered so much. She left her old life behind to be with him. That is love. Something you clearly don't understand. She looks at me with pure venom. And you, She points a shaking finger at me. I know this is you talking through him. You don't want to share the inheritance. You want everything for yourself. I open my mouth to defend myself, to scream that I don't want her money. I just want peace. But the doorbell rings. It's 8 p.m. We aren't expecting anyone. The ringing echoes through the tense silence of the house once, twice. Sam looks at me. I look at him. The colour has drained from his face. Did you know they were coming today? Sam asks his mother. She sits back down, a smug, satisfied smile playing on her lip. She smooths out her dress. I told them to come for dinner. I knew you would be difficult, but you can't throw family out into the snow. I feel sick, physically sick. Sam walks to the door. His footsteps are heavy like a man walking to the gallows. I follow him, hanging back in the hallway shadows. He unlocks the door and pulls it open. A gust of freezing wind blows into the warm house, carrying snowflakes with it. Standing on the porch under the yellow glow of the security light is my brother-in-law, Rob. He's wearing a leather jacket that looks too expensive, a cigarette dangling from his lips, grinning like he owned the world. And beside him, a woman. She's wearing a coat that's too tight, clutching a Louis Vuitton bag that screams fake. Her makeup is heavy, her eyes scanning the interior of our house, not with gratitude, but with calculation, like she's appraising an asset. And holding her hand is a boy, maybe 10 years old, looking down at his phone, completely uninterested. Surprise! Rob shouts, spreading his arms wide, stepping over the threshold without waiting for an invitation. Honey, welcome to the mansion. The woman steps in. As she passes Sam, she doesn't smile. She doesn't say hello. She just looks him up and down, a smirk curling the corner of her red lip. It was a look of conquest. And as the door closes behind them, latching shut with a heavy, final click, I realise with terrifying clarity the infection hasn't just entered our home. It has moved in. And they have no intention of ever leaving. But what I didn't know then, standing in that hallway, was that this woman wasn't just here for a free room. She was running from something. And she brought her secrets with her, packed right there in those cheap suitcases. I looked at the little boy. He finally looked up from his phone. He stared right at me. His eyes were cold, empty, and familiar, too familiar. Why did he look so much like... No, it couldn't be. The nightmare had just begun. The air in the hallway shifted the moment she stepped in. It wasn't just the cold wind from outside, it was the scent she carried. A heavy, cloying perfume that smelled like cheap vanilla and something metallic, trying desperately to cover up the smell of cigarettes. Well, aren't you going to help with the bags, Sam? Rob asked, kicking a massive, scuffed suitcase further into the foyer. He grinned, that same lazy, entitled grin that had gotten him out of trouble for 38 years. We don't have all night. My wife is tired. My wife. The words hung in the air like a bad joke. Sam didn't move. He stood there, his hand still gripping the doorknob, knuckles white. He was looking at the woman, Natasha. She was peeling off her faux fur coat, revealing a tight leopard print top that was entirely inappropriate for a first meeting with conservative in-laws. But she didn't care. She was looking around the house again, her eyes lingering on the crown moulding, the crystal vase on the console table, the high ceiling. Nice place, she said, her voice raspy. She didn't look at me. She didn't look at Sam. She looked at the wall. Bigger than I thought. Rob said you guys had money, but nice. Rob says a lot of things, I said, stepping out of the shadows. My voice was sharper than I intended. Natasha finally turned her gaze to me. Her eyes were dark, rimmed with heavy eyeliner, calculating. She looked me up and down, assessing my simple house clothes, my lack of makeup. A tiny, dismissive smirk played on her lips. She had already decided I was no threat. You must be the sister-in-law, she said, extending a hand with long acrylic nails painted neon pink. Rob told me about you, said you're the responsible one. The way she said responsible sounded like an insult, like it meant boring. I'm Sneha, I said, ignoring her hand. Natasha, she replied, dropping her hand without a hint of embarrassment. She turned to the boy, who was still tapping away on his phone, leaning against the wall as if the weight of the world was on his shoulder. And this is Jaden. Jaden, say hello. The boy didn't look up. Hey, he mumbled. He's shy. Natasha said quickly, flashing a bright fake smile at my mother-in-law, who had just rushed into the hallway. Oh my goodness, look at him. My mother-in-law, Ma, practically pushed Sam out of the way to get to the boy. He is beautiful, Rob. He looks just like you. I froze. Sam froze. The boy was 10 years old. Rob had met this woman maybe 6 months ago. Biologically, it was impossible. But Ma didn't care about biology. She cared about the narrative. In her mind, this was her grandson. This was the extension of her golden boy. Ma, he's not... Sam started, but Rob cut him off loudly. He's my son now, Ma. Blood or not, that's what family does, right? Rob winked at his mother and she melted. Literally melted. And the woman who critiqued my cooking every night, who told Sam he looked fat in his work shirts, was now looking at this stranger and her sullen child like they were angels sent from heaven. Come inside, it's cold. Ma ushered them into the living room, treating them like royalty. Sneha, don't just stand there, make tea. Get snacks, the boy must be hungry. I looked at Sam. He looked like he had been punched in the gut, but he nodded, a silent signal. Just play along for now, don't cause a scene. I went to the kitchen, my hands shaking as I arranged cookies on a plate. I could hear them in the living room. Rob was laughing, that loud, booming laugh that used to charm everyone, but now just sounded like nails on a chalkboard. Yeah, the apartment was a dump, Rob was saying. A landlord was a psycho, tried to evict us for no reason. I told him, do you know who my family is? But you know how these people are. Racist, probably. Lies. I knew it was a lie. You don't get evicted in Ontario in the middle of winter unless you haven't paid rent in months or you destroyed the place. I brought the tea out. They had settled in. Natasha was sitting in my favourite spot on the sofa, her legs crossed, sipping the tea Ma had poured for her. So, Sam said, sitting on the edge of the armchair, his posture stiff. You guys got married? It wasn't a question. It was an accusation. Rob leaned back, spreading his arms along the top of the sofa, encompassing Natasha. Yeah, crazy, right? It just happened. True love, bro. When you know, you know. We didn't see any photos, I said, trying to keep my voice light. No ceremony, no registry office. Natasha's eyes narrowed slightly. She took a slow sip of her tea before answering. We wanted to keep it private, just us and God. It was very spiritual. Spiritual, Sam asked, frowning. Rob, did you sign papers? Is it legal? Rob's face darkened instantly. The jovial brother act dropped. What is it with you? Always the lawyer. Is it legal? Is it signed? He stood up, pacing the room. We stood before God, Sam. I swore on the Bible. I swore on Dad's grave. Isn't that enough for you? In Canada, Rob, swearing on a Bible doesn't get you a marriage license, Sam said calmly, though I could see the vein in his temple pulsing. And it doesn't give you legal rights or responsibilities. How dare you, Ma interjected, glaring at Sam. Your brother gives his word and you ask for paper. Shame on you, Sam. Shame. It's okay, Ma, Natasha said, reaching out to touch Ma's hand. It was a calculated move. He's just looking out for the family assets. I understand. He thinks I'm here for the money. She looked at Sam with wide, innocent eyes that didn't match the predatory set of her jaw. I have my own money, Sam. I don't need yours. I left a very wealthy man to be with Rob. I left a mansion in Mississauga because I chose love over money. I almost choked on my tea. A mansion in Mississauga. If she came from a mansion, why were her shoes scuffed? Why was her hair dyed with a box kit? And why did they need to crash in our guest room? She sacrificed everything for me, Rob said solemnly, putting a hand on Natasha's shoulder. Her ex, he was a monster. Abusive, controlling. We had to get out. That's why we're here, for safety. Safety, the magic word. Who could argue with safety? You're safe here, Ma declared, glaring at us as if we were the abuser. This is your home. Stay as long as you need. Thanks, Ma, Rob said. Then he cleared his throat. Actually, speaking of safety, moving was expensive and the lawyer for the custody battle is adding up. I was wondering if you could... Here it comes. Not even an hour. How much? Sam asked, his voice dead. Just a bridge loan, Rob said quickly. $5,000 just to cover the movers and the deposit for the new place when we find one. $5,000? I blurted out. Rob, you owe the bank $60,000. Collectors called the house yesterday. The room went silent. Rob's face turned a violent shade of red. He looked at Natasha, then at Ma. See what they do? They humiliate me in front of my wife. Sneha, Ma shouted. Go to your room. If you cannot speak with respect, do not speak at all. But Ma, it's true, I pleaded. We can't afford this. We are paying the mortgage, the bills. We don't have $5,000 to just give away. I have money, Ma said coldly. I have my pension. I will give it to him. That's for your medication, Sam stood up. Ma, you can't. "It is my money," she screamed, "and he is my son. If you won't help him, I will." Natasha watched this entire exchange with a calm, detached interest, like she was watching a reality TV show. She didn't off-stop Ma. She didn't say, "No, we can't take your medicine money." She just took another sip of tea, smirked. The rest of the evening was a blur of tension. Ma cooked a feast for them while Sam and I retreated to our bedroom upstairs. We could hear them laughing downstairs, the sound of champagne corks popping. "Champagne Rob must have brought with our money." "I can't do this, Sneha," Sam whispered, sitting on the edge of the bed, his head in his hand. "She's lying. Everything about her is a lie. I checked her name online while you were making tea. Natasha Miller. There's no record of her owning property in Mississauga, but there is a record of a Natasha Miller in Brampton being sued for credit card fraud 2 years ago." "We have to tell Ma," I said. "She won't listen. You saw her. She's hypnotised." Later that night, around 2 a.m, the house was finally quiet, but I couldn't sleep. My stomach was twisting in knots. I needed water. I crept out of the bedroom, tiptoeing down the hallway. The guest room where Rob and Natasha were staying was at the other end of the hall. The door was slightly ajar. As I passed by, I heard a voice, a whisper, but urgent. I stopped. I held my breath. It was Natasha. "I told you, stop calling me here," she hissed. Silence. She was listening to someone on the other end. "Yeah, well, he's an idiot. He bought the whole story. The mother is eating out of my hand. It's a gold mine, baby. I'm telling you, this old lady is sitting on $1 million property." My blood turned to ice. "No," she continued, her voice dropping lower, more sinister. "Don't worry about the brother. He's soft. I'll handle him. Just give me a month. Once I get my name on the mail, once I establish residency, they can't kick me out. Tenant laws, remember?" She laughed softly. It was a cruel, scratching sound. "And hey, make sure you delete the text. If Rob checks my phone, yeah, I love you too. Bye." She hung up. I stood there in the dark hallway, trembling. "I love you too." She wasn't talking to Rob. Rob was snoring. I could hear the deep, rhythmic rumble from the bed. She was talking to someone else, the abusive ex or a partner in crime. She wasn't just a gold digger. This was a heist, a slow-motion home invasion. She wasn't just here to live off us. She was here to take the house. I took a step back, intending to run back to my room and wake Sam to tell him everything. But the floorboard under my foot let out a loud, traitorous creak. The whispering in the guest room stopped instantly. "Hello?" Natasha's voice called out from the dark room, sharp, alert. "Who's there?" My heart hammered against my ribs like a trapped bird. I couldn't move. If she saw me, she'd know I heard. And a woman who plans a scam like this, what would she do to keep it quiet? I heard the rustle of sheets, footsteps approaching the door. She was coming out. I had seconds. I dove into the bathroom across the hall and pulled the door shut just as the guest room door swung open. Through the crack, I saw her silhouette in the hallway light. She was wearing a silk robe, standing there, scanning the dark. She looked toward the stairs, then toward our bedroom door. She stood there for a long time, a predator sensing prey. Then she turned and looked right at the bathroom door where I was hiding. Did she see me? She took a step toward the bathroom. I held the doorknob from the inside, praying, tears stinging my eyes. "Please go back, please." She reached out. I saw the shadow of her hand on the door. Then from inside the room, Rob mumbled in his sleep. "Tasha, come back to bed." She paused. Her hand hovered inches from the wood. She let out a sigh of annoyance, turned around and walked back into the room, clicking the door shut. I slid down to the cold tile floor, gasping for air. We were in so much trouble. She wasn't legally married to Rob. She was still seeing someone else, and she planned to use tenancy laws to steal the house. But the scariest part wasn't the money. It was the way she had spoken on the phone. Cold, clinical, dangerous. "He's soft. I'll handle him." She was talking about Sam. I knew then that this wasn't just a family drama anymore. We were living with a criminal, and tomorrow I had to find out who that boy really was. Because if she was lying about the marriage and lying about the ex, was she lying about the kid too? I stood up, looked in the mirror, and saw a woman I didn't recognise, a woman who was about to go to war. But I had no idea that the next morning things would go from bad to catastrophic, because while I was worrying about the house, Rob was about to make a move that would put Sam's freedom and his life on the line. The gambling debt wasn't just a number. It was owned by people you don't say no to. and they knew where we lived. The morning sun didn't bring any warmth to our kitchen. It only illuminated the cracks in our fragile peace. I sat at the island clutching a mug of black coffee that had gone cold 20 minutes ago. Across from me, that happy couple was putting on a show. Natasha was making pancakes using my specialised flour, using my expensive vanilla extract, humming a tune as if she hadn't been whispering about stealing our house just 6 hours ago. Rob was sitting there scrolling through his phone, a cigarette tucked behind his ear, even though we have a strict no smoking inside rule. He looked hungover. His eyes were bloodshot, his skin pale and clammy. "These are delicious, babe," Rob mumbled, stuffing a piece of pancake into his mouth. "You should open a restaurant. Forget the haters." He shot a glare at me. I didn't bite. I was too busy watching Natasha. She was wearing a silk blouse and tight jeans, her hair done up in a perfect blowout. "Where are you off to?" I asked, keeping my voice dangerously calm. "You look dressed up." Natasha didn't even look at me. She flipped a pancake with a flourish. "Job interview," she lied smoothly. "Executive assistant role downtown. Big firm. They need someone with people skill." "Downtown?" Sam asked, walking into the kitchen, adjusting his tie. He looked like he hadn't slept at all. "I'm driving down to the financial district. Oh, I can drop you." The spatula froze in Natasha's hand for a split second. Just a glitch in the matrix. Then she smiled, turning around. "Oh, that's so sweet, Sam. But I have to stop by my old place to pick up some documents first. I'll take an Uber." "Don't worry about me." "Uber is expensive," Ma chirped from the table, feeding Jaden a spoon of yogurt like he was a toddler. "Sam, give her some cash. She cannot take the bus like a commoner." "I don't have cash, Ma," Sam sighed, grabbing his keys. "I'm late." As soon as Sam left, the atmosphere shifted. Natasha checked her watch. Once, twice. "I better get going," she said, wiping her hand. "Wish me luck, Ma." "Good luck, Beta. Show them who you are," Ma beamed. Oh, I intended to see exactly who she was. I waited until the front door clicked shut. I waited 10 seconds. Then I grabbed my car keys and my coat. "Where are you going?" Ma demanded, her spoon clattering against the bowl. "It's cleaning day. The house is a mess." "We're out of milk," I lied, not waiting for a response. I bolted out the door into the biting Toronto wind. I saw Natasha at the end of the driveway. She wasn't waiting for an Uber. A black sedan with tinted windows had just pulled up to the curb. It wasn't a taxi. It was a Dodge Charger. Aggressive, loud. She opened the passenger door and slid inside. I ran to my Honda CRV parked on the street, ducking low. My heart was hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. This was it. The proof. If I could prove she was cheating on Rob, maybe, just maybe, Ma would see the truth. Maybe Rob would snap out of his trance. The Charger pulled away, heading south toward the lakeshore. I followed, keeping 2 cars between us. My hands were slippery on the steering wheel. I felt like I was in a movie, but the nausea in my stomach was very real. They didn't go downtown. They didn't go to an office building. They drove for 20 minutes until they reached a Motel 6 near the airport strip. It was a seedy place, the kind of spot where people went to disappear for an hour or two. The Charger pulled into the back lot. I parked across the street at a Tim Hortons, my breath fogging up the windshield. I pulled out my phone and zoomed in with the camera. Natasha got out of the car. The driver got out. He wasn't the abusive ex she had described. He was the guy in his 30s wearing a leather jacket, looking around nervously. He didn't look like a lover. He looked like a dealer or a fixer. But then he grabbed her waist and she didn't pull away. She leaned into him, laughing, and he kissed her. It wasn't a peck on the cheek. It was deep, hungry, and familiar. Click, click, click. I took 5 photos. Then I switched to video. They walked towards room 104. He slapped her rear end as she opened the door with a key she already had. The door closed. I sat there in my car, the heater blasting, but I was shivering. I had her. I had the devoted wife dead to rights. She wasn't going to a job interview. She was meeting her boyfriend in a cheap motel while my husband paid for her food and my mother-in-law washed her son's clothes. I waited. I needed to see when they came out. An hour later, the door opened. They looked dishevelled. Natasha was fixing her hair. The man handed her an envelope envelope, thick, white. Money? Drugs? She kissed him goodbye, got into an Uber that had just pulled up and left. The man got back in his Charger and sped off. I drove home, my phone burning a hole in my pocket, and I felt a surge of adrenaline. This was the silver bullet. This would end the nightmare. When I got back to the house, it was 4 p.m. Rob was on the couch watching sports, a beer in his hand. Ma was in the kitchen. Natasha walked in 20 minutes later, looking flushed and happy. How was the interview? Ma asked excitedly. It went great, Natasha beamed, taking off her coat. They loved me. I think I'll get the offer by Monday. I couldn't take it anymore. The lie was so thick, I could taste the bile in my throat. Which company? I asked, stepping into the living room. Natasha froze. She looked at me, her eyes narrowing slightly. A logistics firm. Why? And the interview was at the Motel 6 by the airport, I asked, my voice ringing out in the silent house. Rob muted the TV. He looked at me, confused. What? Sneha, what are you saying? Ma snapped, coming out of the kitchen with a towel in her hand. Always starting trouble. It's all... I followed her, I said, and pulling out my phone. My hands were shaking, but I forced them to be steady. She didn't go to an interview. She met a man. She went into a motel room with him for an hour, and I have proof. I walked over to the TV, disconnected the cable box and cast my phone screen to the 65-inch smart TV. The image popped up in high definition. Natasha in the parking lot, the man grabbing her waist, the kiss, the hotel door closing. The silence in the room was absolute. It was the silence of a bomb falling before the explosion. Natasha's face went pale, then red. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just stared at the screen, her mind clearly racing, calculating her next move. Rob stared at the TV. His mouth hung open. He looked at the photo, then at Natasha, then at the photo again. Rob, I said softly, she's playing you. She's cheating on you. She's not who she says she is. I waited for the explosion. I waited for Rob to throw his beer bottle, to scream at her, to kick her out. Rob stood up slowly. He walked toward the TV. He looked at the man in the picture. Then he turned to me. You followed her? He whispered. His eyes were dark, filled with a terrifying rage, but it wasn't directed at Natasha. It was directed at me. Rob, look at the screen, I pleaded. She is kissing him. That's her cousin, Rob shouted, his voice cracking. That's her cousin Mike. She told me she was meeting him to get some legal papers for her custody battle. He's helping her. Her cousin? I laughed, a hysterical, disbelief-filled sound. Rob, you don't kiss your cousin like that. Look at his hands. Look at them. It's a bad angle, Natasha screamed suddenly, finding her voice. She threw herself onto the sofa, burying her face in her hands, sobbing loudly. Fake, theatrical sobs. Oh, God, I can't believe this. Your sister-in-law is stalking me. She's trying to ruin us, Rob. She's sick. She's obsessed with me. I am not obsessed, I yelled back. You are lying. Ma, look at the picture. Ma walked up to the TV. She squinted at the image, then she looked at me with pure disgust. You are a shameful woman, Sneha, she spat, spying on family, taking dirty pictures. Maybe you are the one with the dirty mind. It looks like a friendly hug to me. A friendly hug. I felt like I was losing my mind. Ma, they went into a motel room. Maybe they needed privacy to talk about legal matters, Ma yelled. You know how stressful custody battles are. Why are you so cruel? I looked at Rob. Rob, please use your brain just for once. She is cheating on you. She has a lover. Rob looked at Natasha, who was weeping, her shoulders shaking. Then he looked at me. Did you sleep with him, Tasha? Rob asked, his voice trembling. Natasha looked up, mascara running down her cheeks. She stood up and walked to the centre of the room. There was a Bible on the coffee table, purely decorative. None of us were devout, but it was there. She placed her hand on it. Rob, she said, her voice shaking with emotion. I swear on this holy book. I swear on my son's life. I swear on God. I did not sleep with him. He is family. He was just comforting me because I was crying about how mean your family is to me. She looked at him with big, wet eyes. I love you, Rob, but you are the only man for me. How can you doubt me? Rob stared at her. The evidence was right there on the giant screen behind her. The lie was so obvious a child could see it, but Rob didn't want the truth. The truth meant he was a loser who got scammed. The truth meant he was alone again. The lie meant he was loved. He took a deep breath. I believe you, Rob said. My jaw dropped. You have got to be kidding me. I believe her, Rob screamed at me, stepping forward, his finger pointed in my face. She swore on the Bible. Who are you to question God, huh? You're just jealous. You're jealous because she's beautiful and exciting and you're just you. He wrapped his arms around Natasha, who buried her face in his chest, shooting me a look over his shoulder. It was a look of pure triumph. A viper in the grass. "Get out," Rob growled at me. "Get out of the living room. I don't want to see your face." "This is my house too," I argued, tears of frustration stinging my eyes. "Not for long," Natasha whispered. I froze. Rob didn't hear it. Ma didn't hear it, but I heard it. "Not for long." I ran upstairs to the bedroom and slammed the door. I collapsed on the bed, shaking uncontrollably. They were insane, all of them. They were in a cult of denial, and I was the heretic they wanted to burn. I called Sam. It went to voicemail. "Sam," I left a message, my voice breaking. "You need to come home now. It's worse than we thought. He's gone, Sam. He's completely gone." I lay there for hours as the sun went down. I heard them downstairs, ordering pizza, laughing, watching a movie, celebrating their victory. But around 9 p.m, the laughter stopped. I heard a car engine outside, loud, that same aggressive rumble I heard earlier. I went to the window and peeked through the blinds. The Dodge Charger was back and it was parked right in front of our driveway, blocking us in. The driver, the cousin, didn't get out. He just sat there, engine idling, headlights cutting through the darkness, illuminating our front porch. Then my phone buzzed. A text message from an unknown number. I opened it. It was a photo of me taken from inside a car while I was sitting in my CRV at the Tim Hortons parking lot earlier today. Below the photo was a text. "Nice car, Sneha. Would be a shame if the brakes failed on the 401. Mind your own business. Last warning." I dropped the phone on the carpet. This wasn't just infidelity. This wasn't just a gold digger trying to get a free room. Rob had married into something criminal and now they knew I was watching. Downstairs, the doorbell rang. I held my breath. "I'll get it," Rob yelled cheerfully from the living room. "No, Rob, don't open the door." But I heard the lock turn, I heard the door open, and then I heard a sound that I will never forget. The sound of a fist hitting flesh, wet and heavy. And then Rob's scream, a high-pitched, terrified wail that shattered the suburban silence. "Quiet. Where is the money, Rob? You thought your new wife would save you?" The voice wasn't the cousin. It was someone else, someone much, much scarier. I grabbed a baseball bat from under the bed and stood at the top of the stairs, trembling. The happy family facade had just been kicked in, along with my brother-in-law's teeth. The game was over. The hunt had begun. I gripped the baseball bat so hard my knuckles turned white, and from the top of the stairs, the view of the foyer was like a scene from a home invasion movie, only the blood on the tile was terrifyingly real. Rob was curled into a fetal position on the floor, clutching his face. Blood was leaking between his fingers, dripping onto the pristine runner rug Ma had bought just last week. Standing over him wasn't the cousin, it was a man I'd never seen before, a block of muscle in a fitted North Face jacket, his face impassive like he was just taking out the trash. "Get up!" the man said. His voice wasn't loud. It was a low, gravelly rumble that vibrated through the floorboards. "We aren't doing this on the floor, Rob. Have some dignity." "Please," Rob whimpered, a sound so pathetic it made my stomach turn. "Please, I just need more time. The transfer is coming. My crypto, it's locked up." "Save the crypto story for the tourists," the man said, nudging Rob's ribs with the toe of his boot. "You owe 60 large, Rob, plus the vigorish." That's 75 as of tonight. $75,000. I felt the air leave my lungs. Last week it was 15. Yesterday we thought it was 60. Now it was 75. The interest on these illegal loans, shark loans, was compounding by the hour. The man looked up. He saw me. He didn't flinch. He didn't run. He just looked at the bat in my hand, then at my face, and offered a chilling, dead-eyed smile. "Evening, ma'am," he said politely. "Tell your husband his brother has until Friday noon. After that, we don't come to talk, we come to collect assets." He looked around the hallway, his eyes lingering on the expensive chandelier. "Nice house, lots of equity. Would be a shame to see it go up in smoke." He turned back to Rob, leaned down and whispered something I couldn't hear. Rob shrieked, a sharp, sudden yelp of pain. Then the man turned, walked out the front door and closed it gently behind him. Silence rushed back into the house, broken only by Rob's sobbing and the sound of Ma running from the kitchen. "Rob, oh my God, my baby!" Ma threw herself onto the floor, cradling Rob's bloody head in her lap. She looked up at me, her eyes wild with misplaced fury. "Sneha, don't just stand there with a bat. Call 911. They killed him." No police, Rob gasped, grabbing Ma's wrist. No police, Ma, they'll come back. They said no cops. Natasha appeared from the living room. She wasn't crying. She looked annoyed. She leaned against the door frame, checking her nails, then looked down at her husband. You told me you handled it, Rob, she said coldly. You said the investments paid off. I almost had it, Rob stammered, wiping blood from his split lip. Just a bad streak, just bad luck. I walked down the stairs, my legs trembling. That wasn't bad luck, Rob. That was a loan shark. You owe $75,000. It's none of your business, Rob shouted, spitting blood. It's my money, my life. It became our business when a thug threatened to burn down our house. I screamed back. The front door opened again. We all flinched. It was Sam. He stood in the doorway, snow blowing in around him, staring at the carnage in his own hallway. His brother bleeding on the floor, his mother wailing, his wife holding a baseball bat. Sam didn't say a word. He closed the door. He locked it. He took off his boots. He walked over to Rob, grabbed him by the collar of his leather jacket and dragged him into the living room. Shh, Sam, you are hurting him, Ma shrieked, scrambling after them. Sam threw Rob onto the leather sofa. Rob groaned, clutching his ribs. Sit, Sam commanded. I had never heard his voice like this. It was deeper, darker. The voice of a man who had reached the end of his rope. Sneha, get the first aid kit. Ma, sit down and be quiet. Natasha, put your phone away. Natasha glared but slid her phone into her pocket. Talk, Sam said to Rob. Everything. Now, it's complicated, Sammy, Rob started, trying to put on his usual charm, but it was hard to look charming with a swollen eye. I was playing online poker. High stakes. I had a system. I was up, man. I was up 20 grand last month, but then the algorithm cheated me. How much? Sam asked. 75. Rob mumbled. Sam ran a hand over his face. He looked like he was aging in fast forward. 75,000, Rob. That is more than most people make in a year. How did you think you were going to pay it back? You don't have a job? I have prospects, Rob yelled, sitting up. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not a wage slave like you, sitting in a cubicle, taking orders from some boss. I take risks. That's how you get rich. Rich? Sam laughed, a hollow sound. You're bleeding on Mum's sofa because you can't pay your debts. You aren't rich, Rob. You're a beggar. Don't call him that, Ma snapped. He is trying. The economy is bad. The economy's fine, Ma, Sam shouted at her. There are help wanted signs everywhere. I talked to my friend at the logistics warehouse today. They need forklift drivers, night shift, $25 an hour. It's hard work, but it's honest. I can get you an interview tomorrow, Rob. The room went silent. We all looked at Rob. This was his lifeline, a chance to start paying it back, a chance to be a man. Rob looked at Sam with pure disgust. He wiped the blood from his mouth and actually laughed. Warehouse? Rob sneered. You want me to work in a warehouse, lifting boxes like some immigrant fresh off the boat? You are an immigrant, Rob, Sam said quietly. We all are. I have a master's degree, Rob shouted, though we all knew he had dropped out halfway through. I am not working for $25 an hour. That's chump change. Do you know how long it would take to pay off 75 grand at that rate? Years. I need a big score, Sam. I need 10 grand to get back in the game. I can flip it. I know I can. I felt like I was going to vomit. The delusion was absolute. There is no 10 grand, Sam said firmly. There is no game. You are done. Ma, Rob turned to his enabler, his eyes filling with fake tears. See? He wants to humiliate me. He wants to see me sweeping floors. He's jealous because I have big dreams. Ma stood up, her face set in grim determination, and she walked over to Sam. Give him the money, Sam. Sam blinked. What? The money in your savings? The down payment you were saving for your own investment property. Give it to him. Ma, that's $40,000, Sam stammered. That's Sneha's money too. We worked 5 years for that, and that's our future. Your brother's life is in danger, Ma screamed, grabbing Sam's lapels. What is wrong with you? Is money more important than blood? If those men come back and kill him, it will be on your hands. You will be the murderer. I am not giving him our savings so he can gamble it away, Sam yelled back, pushing her hands away. Then I will sell the house, Ma announced. The words hung in the air like a guillotine blade. You can't, Sam whispered. Ma, Dad built this house. It's the only asset we have. If you sell it, where will you live? Where will we live? I don't care, she cried. I will not let my son die because his brother is a miser. I will call the agent tomorrow. We will sell. We will pay the debt and the rest Rob can use to start his business. I looked at Natasha. A tiny, almost imperceptible smile curled the corner of her lip. This was it. This was the plan. She didn't need to steal the house. She just needed to create a crisis big enough that Ma would liquidate it voluntarily. Natasha and Robert would take the cash, pay the debt, which might be partly owed to her friend, and vanish, leaving us homeless. No, Sam said. His voice was shaking, but he stood his ground. I won't let you sell the house, Ma. It's in my name, she hissed. You can't stop me. I can have you declared mentally incompetent, Sam bluffed. I knew he wouldn't do it, but he was desperate. I'll tell the court you're being coerced by a gambling addict and a fraudster. He pointed at Natasha. Natasha stood up smoothly. I think we're all tired, she said, her voice soothing, reasonable. Let's not make decisions tonight. Sam, you're upset. Ma, you're in shock. Let's just, sleep on it. She walked over to Rob, helping him up. Come on, baby. Let's get you cleaned up. They walked out of the room. Ma glared at us one last time, a look of pure hatred, and followed them. Sam and I were left alone in the living room. The blood was still on the rug. She's going to do it, Sneha, Sam whispered, collapsing onto the sofa. She's going to sell the house. We're going to be on the street. Not if we expose them first, I said. We need to know who that guy was, the loan shark. If we can prove Natasha knows him. How? Sam asked, defeated. We're trapped. We went to bed, but neither of us slept. Every creak of the house sounded like an intruder. Around 3 a.m, I woke up. A thirst was clawing at my throat. I tried to ignore it, but the anxiety had dried me out. I slipped out of bed. The house was dark and silent. I walked downstairs to the kitchen. The moonlight filtered through the blinds, casting long prison bar shadows on the floor. As I passed the dining room, I saw a faint blue glow. I stopped. Someone was sitting at the dining table in the dark. It was Rob. He was wearing a hoodie, the hood pulled up. His face was a mess of bruises and bandages, and he was hunched over a laptop. I crept closer, staying in the shadows. Was he looking for jobs? Was he finally scared enough to look for a way out? I squinted at the screen. It was green and black, a roulette wheel spinning. Click. Come on, Red. Rob whispered to himself. Come on, Daddy needs a win. He was gambling. 6 hours after getting his face smashed in, 6 hours after threatening to destroy our lives, he was gambling. But wait, he didn't have any money. His accounts were frozen or empty. I stepped closer, my eyes adjusting to the dark. Beside the laptop, illuminated by the screen's glow, was a wallet. A black leather wallet. My husband's wallet. Rob had stolen Sam's wallet while he slept. He was using Sam's credit cards to fuel his addiction. A rage unlike anything I had ever felt took over my body. It wasn't fear anymore. It was pure white hot fury. I reached for the light switch and flipped it on. Rob! He jumped so hard the chair nearly tipped over. He slammed the laptop shut, scrambling to cover the wallet with his hand. Sneha! Jesus, you scared me, he gasped, his heart clearly racing. Give me the wallet, I said, walking toward him. My voice was low, dangerous. What wallet? I was just checking my email, he lied, his eyes darting around. Give me Sam's wallet. I lunged for the table. Rob stood up, blocking me. Don't touch me, he shouted. I'm hurt. You can't hit a wounded man. You're stealing from your own brother, I yelled, grabbing his arm. You parasite, give it to me. We struggled. For a second, I saw the madness in his eyes. He wasn't my brother-in-law anymore. He was a junkie, and junkies will do anything for a fix. He shoved me hard. I stumbled back, my hip hitting the granite countertop with a sickening crack. Pain shot down my leg. Don't you dare touch my stuff, Rob hissed, grabbing the wallet and the laptop. You tell Sam and I'll tell Ma you hit me first. Who do you think she'll believe, huh? He turned to run upstairs, but he stopped. Standing in the kitchen doorway was Jaden, the 10-year-old boy. He was wearing oversized pajamas, holding a glass of water. He looked at Rob. He looked at me, clutching my hip in pain. Jaden, Rob said, putting on a fake smile, go back to bed, buddy. Just adult stuff. Jaden didn't move. He looked at the wallet in Rob's hand. You took the money, Jaden said. His voice was flat, emotionless. No, I didn't. Mum said you would. Jaden said, I froze. What? Rob asked, confused. Oh, what did your mum say? Jaden took a sip of water, his eyes dead cold. Mum said you're a piggy bank. She said we just have to shake you until you're empty, then we leave. The silence in the kitchen was deafening. Rob looked at the boy, the son he claimed to love. The boy who was just repeating what he had been taught. She didn't say that, Rob stammered, his voice trembling. She loves me. Jaden shrugged. She says you're a mark. just like the last one. The boy turned around and walked back upstairs, leaving Rob standing there, clutching the stolen wallet, the truth finally piercing through his delusion. But instead of dropping the wallet, instead of realising he was being used, Rob's face hardened. He looked at me. He's lying, Rob whispered. He's a kid. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He shoved the wallet into his pocket. I'm going to win this money back, he said, staring right through me. And then you'll all see. He turned and walked away. I slid down to the floor, tears streaming down my face. He knew, deep down, he knew, but the addiction was stronger than the truth. But Jaden was the key. The boy knew the plan. And if I could get him to talk on record. I looked at the kitchen clock, 4:15 a.m. Friday noon was the deadline. We had 32 hours before the enforcers came back. But I had a feeling the real danger wasn't coming from outside the house anymore. It was sleeping in the guest room, waiting for the check to clear. And I was the only one standing in her way. The notification on Sam's phone didn't just ding. It sounded like a gunshot in the quiet morning air. We were sitting in the car, parked in the driveway. Sam hadn't started the engine yet. He was staring at his iPhone screen, his face draining of colour until it looked like grey ash. Declined, he whispered. What? I asked, leaning over. The mortgage payment, Sam said, his voice trembling. It bounced. Insufficient funds. He quickly opened his banking app. His thumb hovered over the screen, shaking. He tapped on checking account. Balance $42. He tapped on saving. Balance $15. $40,000. Gone in one night. Sam dropped the phone. It clattered onto the centre console. He gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles turning white, his breathing coming in short, ragged gasps. It was a panic attack. He took it all. Sam choked out. He transferred it. He must have... The password. My birthday. He guessed it. Rob, I said, the name tasting like poison. Sam didn't scream. He didn't yell. He just opened the car door, got out and walked back toward the house. But his walk was different. It wasn't the walk of a brother. It was the walk of an executioner. I ran after him. Sam, wait, don't do anything crazy. He threw the front door open so hard it banged against the wall, cracking the plaster. Rob! The scream tore through the house, primal and terrifying. Rob was in the kitchen, eating cereal. He froze the spoon halfway to his mouth. Ma was there too, cutting fruit. Natasha was leaning against the counter, scrolling through her phone. Sam marched into the kitchen. He didn't stop. He grabbed the bowl of cereal and swept it off the table. It shattered against the wall, milk and Cheerios exploding everywhere. You stole my money, Sam roared, grabbing Rob by the front of his t-shirt and hauling him out of the chair. $40,000, you stole our future. Sam, stop, Ma screamed, rushing forward, brandishing a fruit knife in her panic. Let him go, you are crazy. He's a thief, Ma, Sam yelled, not letting go of Rob, shaking him like a rag doll. He accessed my bank account. He drained our savings. That was for your grandchildren. That was for us. Rob didn't fight back. He held his hands up in a surrender pose, but his eyes were mocking. I borrowed it, Sam, Rob said, breathless. I told you. I need liquidity. I'll pay you back double next week. There is no next week. Sam shoved him back against the fridge. You gambled it. I saw the transaction logs. Online casino. You lost $40,000 in 4 hours. It was a system error. Rob lied, desperate now. I'm talking to support. They're going to refund it. Liar! Sam raised his fist. Don't you dare! Ma threw herself between them. She was small, frail, but in that moment, she was a fortress. She pushed Sam back with shocking strength. Don't you touch him, she hissed, her face twisted in a snarl. If you hurt your brother, I will call the police on you. Sam stumbled back, looking at his mother as if she had just stabbed him. Ma, he stole my life savings. He committed a felony. And you're protecting him. He did what he had to do, Ma screamed. He's in trouble. He needed money. If you were a good brother, you would have given it to him. You forced him to steal because you're so stingy. You hold on to money like a miser while your brother bleeds. The silence that followed was absolute. I stood in the doorway, paralysed. I had heard of gaslighting, but this was psychological warfare. She had just blamed Sam for being Rob. Sam looked at his mother. Tears welled up in his eyes, not of sadness, but of pure, broken betrayal. I am stingy, Sam whispered. Ma, I pay for everything in this house. Your clothes, your food, the car you ride in. I work 60 hours a week so you can sit here and watch TV. And he? He does nothing. He destroys. And I am the bad son. Ma straightened her sari, lifting her chin with that arrogant matriarchal pride. Money is just paper, Sam. Family is blood. Rob is in trouble. You should be honoured to help him. Instead, you cry about numbers. I'm done, Sam said. His voice broke. I'm done. I'm calling the police. I'm pressing charges for theft and fraud. He pulled out his phone. If you call the police, Ma said, her voice dropping to a deadly calm, I will write you out of the will today. Sam froze. I will go to the lawyer this afternoon, she continued, her eyes cold and hard like flint. I will transfer the deed of this house to Rob. Sole ownership. You and Sneha will be on the street. You will get nothing, not a penny of your father's legacy. You wouldn't, Sam stammered. Dad wanted us to share it. He built this for all of us. Your father is dead, she spat. I am the owner and I decide. Put the phone away, Sam, or lose everything. Sam's hand trembled. He looked at me. I saw the fear in his eyes, not for the money, but for the severance, for the finality of being disowned by the woman he had spent his life trying to please. Natasha stepped forward then, the predator sensing the kill. Ma, she said softly, putting a comforting hand on Ma's shoulder. Don't be too hard on him. Sam is just stressed. He doesn't understand the big picture. She looked at Sam, her eyes glittering with malice. So, Sam, put the phone away. We're family. We fix this internally. Besides, wait, if you arrest Rob, the loan sharks won't get their money. And if they don't get their money, well, you saw what they did to his face. Do you really want them coming back for Ma? It was a checkmate. If Sam called the cops, Rob went to jail, the sharks wouldn't get paid and they would come back and hurt Ma. And Sam, despite everything, still loved his toxic, abusive mother. Sam lowered the phone. He looked defeated. He looked like a man whose soul had been scooped out. Fine, Sam whispered. Keep the money. But we're leaving. Sneha, pack your bags. We're going to a hotel. You can't leave, Ma said sharply. Watch me, Sam said, grabbing my hand. If you leave, Ma announced, I will sign the house over to Rob anyway tonight. Sam stopped. He turned around slowly. Why? Why are you doing this? Because Rob needs assets to get a bank loan to pay off the sharks, Ma lied, or maybe she believed it. Natasha found a broker. A private lender. They will give Rob a loan to pay the debt, but they need collateral. They need the house title. Ma, no, I shouted, stepping forward. That's a scam. Natasha is setting you up. Once the house is in Rob's name, she will divorce him and take half, or she'll sell it and run. Shut up, Ma screamed at me. You poisoned my family. You are the reason Sam is like this. You turned him against us. She's right, Ma, Natasha said, playing the victim perfectly. Sneha has always hated me. She's jealous because I have a son and she is barren. The insult slapped me across the face. We had been trying for a baby for 2 years. Ma knew that. Natasha knew that. Enough, Sam said, his voice low. We stay, but no signing over the house. If you sign that paper, Ma, you are homeless. Do you understand? Rob will lose the house in a week. I trust my son, Ma said stubbornly. The broker is coming at 2 p.m. We will see. The next few hours were a blur of torture as Sam went into the Home Office and locked the door, calling every bank, trying to salvage what was left of his credit. But the damage was done. We were broke. I sat in the living room watching the clock. 2 p.m. The doorbell rang. It wasn't a broker. It was a lawyer, a mobile notary public. And with him was a man in a sharp suit. I recognised him not from our life, but from the news. He was a hard money lender, the kind who gives loans with 20% interest rates against property values. They set up in the dining room. Ma sat at the head of the table, looking important. Rob sat next to her, jittery, unable to sit still. Natasha sat on the other side, calm, a pen already in her hand. We need to review the documents, the lawyer said. This is a transfer of title and a subsequent lien placement. Mrs. Khan, you are transferring the property located at 15 Oakwood Drive to your son, Robert Khan. And simultaneously, Robert Khan is taking out a private mortgage of $500,000 against the equity. $500,000! I gasped. Wait, the debt is $75,000. Why are you taking out $500,000? Rob slammed his hand on the table. Business capital, I told you. I'm starting a business. He's cashing out, I yelled. Ma, don't you see? He's taking the equity. He's going to take the money and leave you with nothing. Sneha, leave the room, Ma ordered. No! I stood my ground. Sam! Sam! Sam ran out of the office. He saw the papers. He saw the lawyer. What is this? Sam demanded. It's the solution, Natasha said smoothly. Rob gets the loan, pays the debt, invests the rest. Everyone wins. $500,000? Sam looked at the lawyer. Sir, my mother is being coerced. She doesn't understand what she is signing. If you proceed with this, I will report you to the Bar Association. The lawyer hesitated. He looked at Ma. Mrs. Khan, do you understand the terms? You are giving up ownership of your home. If your son defaults on the loan, the lender will foreclose. You will be evicted. Ma hesitated, and for the first time I saw a flicker of fear in her eyes. She looked at the chandelier. She looked at the photos of her late husband on the mantel. This was her kingdom. Ma, Sam said, dropping to his knees beside her chair. Please look at me. I am your son. I have never lied to you. Rob has lied to you every day of his life. If you sign this, you lose your home. Dad's home. Please don't do it. It was a heartbreaking scene. A grown man begging his mother to save herself from her own blindness. Ma looked at Sam. She touched his face. Her hand was trembling. You're a good boy, Sam, she whispered. Hope surged in my chest. She saw it. Finally, she saw it. But then Rob spoke. He wants the house for himself, Ma, Rob said softly. He wants to put you in a nursing home. I heard him talking to Sneha about it. Assisted living. That's what they call it. A prison for old people. Ma's hand froze on Sam's cheek. She pulled it back as if she had touched fire. Nursing home? She whispered, her greatest fear, the fear of every immigrant parent, abandoned. No, Sam cried. That's a lie. We never said that. I heard them, Natasha chimed in. Last night, they said once Ma signs the will to us, we put her in the home and sell the place. Liars, I screamed. You are evil. Ma stood up. Her face was hard as stone. The tenderness was gone, replaced by a wall of ice. I will not die in a nursing home, she declared. I will live with my son who loves me, Rob. She picked up the pen. Ma, don't. Sam grabbed her hand. Let go of me, she shrieked. Then suddenly she gasped. She clutched her chest, her face twisted in pain. She slumped back into the chair. My chest, she gasped. My heart. Ma. Sam panicked. He let go of her hand. Water, Sneha, get water. Is it a heart attack? You're killing me. Ma wheezed, looking at Sam with accusatory eyes. You are stressing me. Sign. Let me sign before I die. It was a performance. I knew it. I had seen her do it when the cable bill was too high, but Sam was terrified. He thought he was killing his mother. Okay, Ma. Okay, just breathe. Sam wept, backing away. Do whatever you want. Just don't die. Please don't die. He surrendered. The manipulation was complete. Ma took a deep breath. She didn't look like she was dying anymore. She looked determined. She put the pen to the paper. The lawyer pointed to the X. Scritch. Scratch. The sound of the pen on the paper was louder than a scream. She signed. Natasha smiled. A slow, terrifying smile that didn't reach her eyes. She reached into her purse and pulled out a cigarette lighter. She wasn't going to smoke. She was just flicking the lid. Click, click. A nervous tick or a signal. Done, the lawyer said, stamping the document. Congratulations, Mr. Khan. You are the owner of this property. The funds will be wired to your account within 24 hours. Rob grabbed the papers. He looked at them like they were a winning lottery ticket. He didn't look at Ma. He didn't say thank you. He just stared at the deed. I'm rich, Rob whispered. I'm finally rich. We, Natasha corrected him. We are rich. Ma sat there looking exhausted. Now, she said to Rob, you will pay the bad men and we will be safe. Rob didn't answer. He was already typing on his phone. Rob, Ma asked, her voice trembling slightly. Yeah, Ma. Rob waved her off. I gotta go. I gotta meet a guy. But dinner, Ma asked. I made biryani. Not hungry, Rob said, and he stood up. Natasha, let's go. We need to celebrate. They walked toward the door. The lawyer and the lender followed. Sam and I stood there amidst the ruins of our lives. The house was gone. Our savings were gone. But then I saw something. Natasha had left her purse on the chair for a split second while she put on her coat, and it was open. Inside, I saw a stack of papers. Not the deed, something else. I moved closer while she was buttoning her coat. I peered into the bag. It was a travel itinerary, flight confirmation. Passenger Natasha Miller, Robert Khan. Destination Las Vegas, Nevada. Date tonight, 11 p.m. One way. They weren't staying. They weren't paying the shark. They were taking the $500,000 and running to Vegas, leaving Ma behind to face the foreclosure, leaving us to face the loan sharks when they realised the money was gone. Sam, I whispered, grabbing his arm as the door closed behind them. They're leaving tonight, one-way ticket. Sam looked at me. The sadness in his eyes vanished, replaced by a cold, hard resolve, the kind of resolve that comes when you have nothing left to lose. Not if I stop them, Sam said. He walked to the kitchen and grabbed the car keys. Where are you going? Ma asked, clutching her chest again. Sam, stay here, take care of me. Sam looked at his mother. For the first time in his life, he didn't flinch. You made your choice, Ma, Sam said. You chose the thief, now live with him. I'm going to get my money back. He walked out the door. I ran after him. I'm coming with you. No, Sam said, starting the car. It's going to get dangerous, Sneha. Those sharks, if Rob tries to run with their money, they will hunt him down. And if I'm in the way, I don't care, I said, jumping into the passenger seat. We ride together. We die together. Sam floored the gas. We peeled out of the driveway, chasing the Dodge Charger that was already halfway down the block. We were heading into the night. We were heading into a war. And I knew deep down that not everyone was coming back from this drive alive. The speedometer on the dashboard hit 140 kilometres per hour. Outside the Queen Elizabeth Way, the QEW was a blur of wet asphalt and red taillights. The snow had turned into a freezing rain that lashed against the windshield like gravel. Sam, slow down! I gripped the handle above the door, my nails digging into the plastic. You're going to kill us before we even catch them. I can't lose them, Sneha, Sam said through gritted teeth. His eyes were locked on the horizon, scanning the weaving traffic for the black Dodge Charger. If they get to Pearson Airport, they're gone, and so is the money. They aren't going to the airport yet, I said, checking the GPS on my phone. I'm tracking Natasha's phone. I synced it to the family cloud last week when she asked for the Wi-Fi password. She forgot to turn off location sharing. Sam swerved around a transport truck, earning a long, angry honk. Where are they? They're exiting here, Ontario, I said, zooming in on the map. They're heading toward the industrial district near the airport. That's not the terminal. Why go there? Sam frowned. Unless they aren't flying alone, I finished his thought. They're meeting someone. We took the exit, the tyres screeching on the wet ramp. The city lights of Mississauga sprawled out around us. Condos, strip malls and warehouses. We followed the dot on the map into a desolate area of shipping containers and darkened logistics centres. It was a ghost town at night. There, Sam whispered, killing the headlights. 200 yards ahead, under the flickering yellow buzz of a street lamp, sat the black Dodge Charger. And parked right next to it was a silver SUV. Sam pulled our car behind a stack of wooden pallets, hidden from view. We cracked the windows to listen. The wind howled, but we could hear voices. Rob was standing outside the Charger, shivering in his leather jacket. Natasha was there too, holding Jaden's hand. And facing them were two men. One was the cousin, Mike. The other was the loan shark who had beaten Rob earlier. Stay here, Sam ordered, unbuckling his seatbelt. No way, I said, reaching into the glove compartment. I pulled out a heavy metal flashlight. We do this together. We crept forward, using the shadows of the shipping containers as cover. We were close enough now to hear every word. Where is the cash? The loan shark asked. His voice was calm, bored even. I told you the wire is pending, Rob pleaded, his voice cracking. The bank said 24 hours. I have the confirmation number right here. He held up his phone with a shaking hand. Look, $500,000. It's coming tomorrow morning. The loan shark slapped the phone out of Rob's hand and it skittered across the wet pavement. I don't care about confirmation numbers, the shark growled. I care about liquidity. You were supposed to bring cash tonight. We're going to Vegas, Rob stammered. We'll cash it out there at the casino, I promise. I'll wire you the 75 grand plus interest from the hotel. Vegas? The cousin and Mike laughed. It was a cruel sound. He looked at Natasha. You told him Vegas? Rob looked confused. He looked from Mike to Natasha. What? Yeah, we have tickets. You saw them? Natasha didn't look at Rob. She was looking at Mike. And in that look, I saw a history that went back years. Plans changed, Rob, Natasha said coldly. She let go of Jaden's hand and walked over to stand next to Mike. Rob blinked, the rain dripping off his nose. Tasha, what are you doing? Come back here. She's not going to Vegas with you, idiot, Mike sneered, wrapping an arm around Natasha's waist. And she's not Tasha. Her name is Nicole. The silence that followed was heavier than the storm. Nicole, Rob whispered. But the marriage, the baby. The marriage isn't real, Rob, Natasha. Or Nicole said, sounding bored. We stood in a living room. We didn't sign papers. You're just a mark, a pathetic, desperate mark. But Jaden, Rob pointed at the boy who was standing alone by the car looking at his feet. He's my son. You said he was my son. The timeline matched. And this was the moment the air of doubt became the air of truth. Sam stepped out from the shadows. He's not your son, Rob, Sam announced, his voice ringing out in the empty lot. Everyone turned. Rob's eyes went wide. The shark reached into his jacket, but stopped when he saw Sam holding nothing but a piece of paper. Sam! Rob gasped. What are you doing here? Saving your life, you moron, Sam said, walking steadily toward the group. I followed him, flashlight raised like a club. Sam held up the paper. It was wet from the rain, but the red stamp was visible. I ran the DNA test 3 days ago, Sam said, staring at Natasha. I took Jaden's juice box from the trash. I sent it to a rush lab downtown. He threw the soggy paper at Rob's feet. 0% probability, Sam declared. He's not your son, Rob. He's theirs. Sam pointed at Natasha and Mike. They've been playing you from day one, Sam continued, his voice shaking with rage. Mike isn't her cousin. He's the father. They set you up. They found the most gullible, greedy man they could find, convinced him he had a long-lost son and milked him dry. And now that you've signed over the house, they're going to take the loan money and dump you in a ditch. Rob stared at the paper on the wet ground. He didn't pick it up. He just stared at it. He looked at the boy. Jaden looked up. The boy's eyes were the exact same shade of hazel as Mike's. Jaden, Rob whispered, is it true? The 10-year-old boy looked at the man who had tried so hard to buy his love. He looked at his mother, who was smoking a cigarette, uncaring. Yeah, Jaden said, his voice flat. He's my dad. He pointed to Mike, and you're just the ATM. Rob let out a sound that wasn't human. It was the sound of a soul breaking. He fell to his knees in the mud. You took my mother's house, Rob sobbed. You took everything. Business is business, the loan shark said, checking his watch. All right, enough family drama. Where is the access code for the bank account? Natasha pulled a piece of paper from her purse. Right here. The funds hid at 9 a.m. You can sweep the account then. No, Rob screamed, scrambling up from the mud. He lunged at Natasha. Mike stepped forward and punched Rob in the face. A sickening crack echoed. Rob hit the pavement hard and didn't get up. Hey! Sam shouted, charging forward. The loan shark pulled a gun. We froze. Easy, hero, the shark said, aiming the pistol at Sam's chest. Nobody needs to die tonight. We just want the money. He looked at Natasha. You got the routing number? Yes, she said. Good, we leave. You two. He pointed the gun at Sam and me. Take your brother and go. If you follow us, I'll put a bullet in your wife. Sam stopped. He held his hands up, breathing hard. Natasha, Mike and Jaden got into the silver SUV. The loan shark got into the Dodge Charger, Rob's rental car. They were leaving. They had won. They had the house title, the loan confirmation and the codes to drain the money. As the SUV engine roared to life, Natasha rolled down the window. She looked at me. You should have minded your own business, Sneha, she shouted over the rain. Now you're homeless too. Have fun in the shelter, she laughed. The SUV peeled out, tyres spinning mud, followed by the Charger. We were left alone in the dark industrial park. Rob was lying unconscious in a puddle. Sam ran to him. Rob, wake up, Rob groaned, his eyes fluttering open. His face was a mess of blood and mud. They took it, Rob wheezed. They took the house. Ma's house. We have to call the police, I said, pulling out my phone. No, Sam said, looking at the taillights disappearing into the night. The police can't stop a wire transfer that's already authorised. By the time they freeze the accounts, the money will be in the Caymans. So what do? I cried. We can't just let them win. Sam looked down at his brother. Then he looked at me. A strange, dark look crossed his face. Rob, Sam said urgently, grabbing Rob's collar. The online gambling account, the one you used to lose our savings. What? Rob coughed. What about it? You said you had a system, Sam said. You said you were logged in on your laptop. Yeah, so, is the laptop still in the car? Sam asked. Or did they take it? It's in the trunk of the Charger, Rob groaned. They took the car, Sam cursed. Damn it. Wait, I said. My mind was racing. Natasha synced her phone to the cloud. But Rob, didn't you say you used my iPad yesterday to check your bets because your phone died? Rob blinked. Yeah, I left it under the seat of your car. We all looked at my Honda CR-V. If you are still logged into the casino account, Sam said, his voice rising with adrenaline, and if that account is linked to the bank account where the loan money is landing, it is, Rob whispered. I linked them so I could transfer winnings instantly. Sam stood up, pulling Rob with him. We don't need to stop the wire transfer, Sam said, a desperate plan forming in his eyes. We need to intercept it. If we can log into the casino account, we might be able to pull the funds out the second they hit the bank before they can sweep it. But they have the bank codes, I argued. It's a race, Sam said, dragging Rob toward our car. A digital race. If we can trigger a deposit into the casino wallet before they trigger a withdrawal to their offshore account, we trap the money in the gaming system. And then what, I asked. Then we gamble it, Rob said, a manic grin breaking through the blood on his face. No, Sam shouted. Then we freeze it. but we have to be online at 9 a.m. sharp. We jumped into the car. Sam slammed the door. But there's one problem, Rob said, clutching his ribs. The two-factor authentication. It sends a code to my phone. Where's your phone? I asked. The loan shark smashed it, Rob said. It's on the ground. We looked at the shattered remains of the iPhone in the puddle. It was destroyed. Without the code, we can't log in, Rob said, defeated. It's over. No, I said. I reached into my pocket. I have Natasha's old phone. They both looked at me. When she upgraded last week, she threw her old one in the junk drawer, I explained quickly. I kept it and I thought maybe I could find evidence on it. I charged it this morning. So, Sam asked. Rob, I looked at him. Did you ever log into your email on her phone? Maybe, Rob said. I used it once to check a confirmation. If the email is logged in, I said, we can reset the 2FA to go to email instead of SMS. Sam turned the key. The engine roared to life. We have 6 hours until the bank's open, Sam said, shifting into gear. We need to get to a secure Wi-Fi connection. We need to get home. Home? I asked. But Ma needs to know the truth, Sam said grimly, and she needs to see her grandson's DNA result. Excited as we sped back onto the highway, chasing the dawn, I looked at the shattered family in the car, a beaten gambler, a desperate husband, and a wife holding a dead woman's phone. The villains had the guns and the codes. But we had the one thing they didn't expect. We knew their secrets, but what we didn't know was that Ma wasn't just sitting at home waiting while we were chasing them. Ma had received a call from the police, and the news she got was about to change the game entirely. Sam, I said, looking at my phone as a news alert popped up. Oh my God. What? Breaking news, I read, my blood running cold. A house fire reported in the Etobicoke area, 15 Oakwood Drive. Sam slammed on the brakes. 15 Oakwood Drive. That was our address. The shark hadn't just threatened to burn it down. He had set the timer. May, Sam screamed. We weren't racing for money anymore. We were racing into an inferno. The sky above Etobicoke wasn't black anymore. It was a bruising, violent purple, lit from beneath by a terrifying, pulsating orange glow. As Sam swerved the Honda onto our street, jumping the curb to bypass a parked fire truck, the scream died in my throat. It was gone. The roof of 15 Oakwood Drive had already collapsed. Flames were licking out of the shattered windows of the master bedroom like angry tongue. The beautiful brick facade, the symbol of the Khan family legacy, was now just a silhouette against a wall of fire. "Mao!" Sam roared, throwing the car into park before it even fully stopped. He scrambled out, slipping on the ice and water that covered the driveway. Firefighters were everywhere, shouting, hoses blasting streams of water that turned to steam instantly upon hitting Inferno. "Sir, get back!" A firefighter in full gear grabbed Sam's arm. "My mother is inside!" Sam fought him, his eyes wild. "She's in the back bedroom! Let me go!" "We have a team going in!" the firefighter shouted over the roar of the blaze. "It's too dangerous! Stay back!" "Rob," I yelled, turning to the car. "Help me with Sam!" But Rob wasn't moving. He was standing by the open car door, staring at the burning house with a look of absolute hollow devastation. The heat of the fire reflected in his eyes, but he looked cold, frozen. This was his doing. His debt, his gamble, and now his inheritance was ash. "Rob," I screamed, shaking him. "Do something!" Before Rob could react, a sudden crash echoed from the side of the house. The second floor balcony gave way, crashing into the backyard in a shower of spark. And then, through the smoke, 2 firefighters emerged from the front door, carrying a small, limp figure wrapped in a yellow blanket. "Ma!" Sam broke free from the restraint and sprinted toward them. They laid her on the stretcher near the ambulance. Her face was black with soot, her silver hair singed. She wasn't moving. Ma, please." Sam fell to his knees, grabbing her hand. It was cold. A paramedic pushed Sam aside, placing an oxygen mask over her face. "She's breathing, but shallow. Smoke inhalation. We need to move now." They loaded her into the ambulance. Sam jumped in. "Sneha, bring the car!" Sam yelled as the door slammed shut. I grabbed Rob, who was still catatonic, and shoved him into the passenger seat of our car. "Wake up!" I slapped Rob's arm. "We have to go to the hospital, and then we have to finish this." Rob looked at me, tears cutting tracks through the blood and dirt on his face. "I killed her," he whispered. "I killed my own mother." "She's not dead yet," I snapped, reversing the car. "But she will be if you give up now. Check the time." Rob looked at the dashboard clock. 8:42 a.m. "We have 18 minutes, I said, my voice trembling. 18 minutes until the bank opens. 18 minutes until Natasha and Mike drain that loan money and vanish forever. It doesn't matter, Rob sobbed. The house is gone. It matters, I shouted, merging onto the main road following the ambulance's sirens. If they get that money, they win. They burn your house, steal your legacy and laugh all the way to the tropics. Are you going to let them win, Rob? Rob's jaw tightened. A spark of anger, real anger, not his usual petulant whining, finally ignited in his eyes. Give me the iPad, he said. The waiting room at Etobicoke General Hospital was chaotic, smelling of antiseptic and wet winter coats. Sam was inside with Ma. Rob and I sat in the corner, huddled over my iPad. 8:55 a.m. Okay, Rob said, his fingers flying across the screen. I'm at the casino login page. It's asking for the 2FA code. I have the phone, I said, holding up Natasha's old iPhone. I had connected it to the hospital's public Wi-Fi. Sending code now, Rob said. We waited 5 seconds, 10 seconds, ping. An email notification popped up on Natasha's phone. A verification code 492044. Got it! I read it out as Rob typed it in. The screen loaded. We were in. Current balance, $0. Okay, Rob said, sweat dripping from his nose onto the screen. Now we wait for the bank. The loan funds are scheduled to sweep into the checking account at 9 a.m. Since I linked this casino wallet to the checking account for instant deposits, I can pull the money from the bank into the casino wallet the second it lands. But Natasha has the bank login, I reminded him. She's probably sitting on her phone right now, waiting to transfer it out to an offshore account. It's a race, Rob said, staring at the digital clock on the iPad. The sweep happens automatically. But the transfer out, that takes human input. She has to type in the amount and click send. I just have to click deposit. 8:59 a.m. My heart was hammering so hard I thought I might pass out. Where is she? I whispered. Where do you think they are? Airport, Rob muttered. Or a hotel somewhere with good signal. 9 a.m. Here we go, Rob whispered. He refreshed the bank link tab within the casino app. Nothing. Come on, Rob hissed. Refresh! He tapped it again. Available bank balance, $500,000. It's there, I gasped. Pull it all. Depositing. Rob tapped the button. He typed 500,000. He hit confirm. The screen spun. A little loading wheel of death. Processing transaction. Come on, I prayed. Faster, faster. Suddenly the screen flashed red. Error, insufficient funds. What? Rob screamed. It was just there. She's moving it, I yelled. She's doing the transfer at the same time. The bank system is confused. Try again, I shouted. Do a smaller amount. Maybe she didn't take it all yet. Rob typed 450,000. Hit confirm. Processing. Green check mark. Deposit successful. Yes! Rob yelled loud enough that a nurse shushed us from across the room. We got it? I asked, breathless. We got 450 grand, Rob said, his eyes wide. She must have been trying to transfer the full 500. We beat her to the bulk of it. What about the other 50? She probably got it, Rob said. But the rest, it's trapped here in the casino wallet. Freeze it, I ordered. Self-exclude, lock the account. Wait, Rob hesitated. He looked at the number on the screen. $450,000. I saw the look in his eyes. The addict's look, the high roller look. Rob, I said, my voice low and dangerous. Don't you dare. Do not even think about betting it. I could double it, Sneha, he whispered, his hands trembling. One hand of blackjack. We could rebuild the house. We could pay back the 50 she stole. Rob, I grabbed the iPad. Look at me. Your mother is dying in that room because of this. The house is ash because of this. If you bet $1 single, I will scream for the police right now and tell them you burned the house yourself. Rob looked at me. He looked at the door where Sam was weeping over his mother. The reality crashed down on him. The fantasy was over. He slumped back in the plastic chair. Lock it, he whispered. Lock it all. I navigated to the responsible gaming settings. I clicked permanent self-exclusion. I clicked reason, fraud, theft. Click. Account suspended. Funds frozen. Pending investigation. It's done, I exhaled, collapsing against the wall. The money is stuck. Neither of you can touch it. The casino will hold it until the lawyers and police sort it out. Just then, the phone in my hand, Natasha's old phone, started ringing. It was a FaceTime request. Caller ID. Hubby. Rob's number. It was them. They were calling from the phone they stole from Rob. Answer it, Rob said, his voice hard. I slid the bar to answer and held the phone up, and Natasha's face filled the screen. She was in a car, moving fast. Mike was driving. You little bitch, Natasha screamed, her face twisted in ugly rage. What did you do? Where is the money? It's gone, Nicole, I said, using her real name. Frozen. You got 50 grand. That's it. That might cover your flight, but it won't cover the lawyers you're going to need. I will kill you, Mike shouted from the driver's seat. You hear me? I know where you are. And no, you don't, I said calmly, but the police know where you are. What? Natasha froze. The loan shark set the fire, I lied smoothly. But we told the cops you did it. We told them you and Mike lit the match to cover your tracks after the theft, arson, attempted murder, grand larceny. They just pinged this phone. They're tracking the other one too. Natasha looked at Mike. Panic flared in her eyes. Hang up, Mike yelled. Throw the phone. The screen went black. I dropped the phone in my lap. It was over. 2 hours later, the door to the emergency ward opened. Sam walked out. He looked 10 years older than he had yesterday. His clothes were stained with soot and tears. He walked over to us. He didn't look at Rob. He looked at me. She's awake, Sam whispered. Is she? She's going to live, Sam said. But her lungs are bad. It's going to be a long recovery. He finally turned to Rob. Rob stood up, looking at his feet. Sam! I don't, Sam said. He held up a hand. I don't want to hear your apologies, Rob. I don't want to hear your plans. I just want you to listen. Sam stepped closer, right into Rob's personal space. I talked to the police detective in the hallway, Sam said quietly. They found an accelerant on the porch. It's definitely arson. They picked up a silver SUV speeding toward the border near Niagara about 20 minutes ago. A woman matching Natasha's description and a man were detained. They had $50,000 in cash on them. They got them, I gasped. They got them, Sam nodded. And since we froze the rest of the money, the bank will eventually recover it to pay off the lender. The debt is gone, Rob, but so is the house. I know, Rob wept. I'm so sorry, Sam. Mum wants to see you, Sam said. Rob looked up, terrified. She does? She wants to tell you something, Sam said. Go. Rob walked into the room like a man walking to the gallows. I watched through the glass window. Ma was lying in the bed, hooked up to tubes. She looked small, frail. The powerful matriarch was gone. Rob stood by the bed. He reached out to take her hand. Ma pulled her hand away. It was a small movement, but it shattered the world. I saw Ma's lips move. I couldn't hear the words, but I saw the shape of... No more. Rob collapsed onto the floor by the bed, sobbing into the sheets. Ma didn't comfort him. She didn't stroke his hair. She just stared at the ceiling, tears rolling silently down her cheek. Epilogue. 6 months later. The apartment is small. Just a 2-bedroom rental in Scarborough. It's a far cry from the Oakwood mansion. The carpets are thin and you can hear the neighbours arguing through the walls. But it's quiet here. I'm in the kitchen making tea. Real tea, not the stuff Natasha drank. Sam walks in. He kisses me on the forehead. He's working 2 jobs now to help pay for Ma's therapy and the legal fees, but he smiles more. The weight is gone. Is she ready? Sam asks. Yeah, I say. We walk into the living room. Ma is sitting in her wheelchair by the window watching the rain. She looks at us. Her eyes are sad but clear. The delusion is gone. The golden boy myth burned down with the house. Where is he? Ma asks. It's the only time she mentions him. He called from the centre, Sam says gently. He's 30 days sober today. He's working in the kitchen there. He says he's learning to wash dishes. Ma nods slowly. Good work. He's good. She doesn't ask when he's coming home because he isn't. Not here, not to us. The deadbeat is finally learning to live. The enabler has finally learned to stop. And us? I touch my stomach. It's early days yet, just 8 weeks. But the doctor said everything looks perfect. We have an appointment tomorrow, Ma, I say, to see the baby. Ma looks at me. For the first time in 6 years, her face softens into a genuine smile, not a haughty smirk, a smile. A baby, she whispers. A real one. Yes, Ma, Sam says, holding my hand. A real one. Outside, the rain washes over the city, cleaning the soot from the streets, washing away the ashes of the past. We lost the house. We lost the money. But as I look at my husband and the hope in his eyes, I realise something. We escaped the trap. We broke the curse. And for the first time in a long time, we are free. This is Snehal signing off.